So the first case we have here is a Facebook CPAS ads that is not converting. Now, for those who are not familiar, what is Facebook CPAS? CPAS ads is actually collaborative ads, as in it's usually used by e-commerce marketplaces like Shopee, Lazada, Tokopedia in Indonesia, even Amazon as well. So there are all these e-commerce marketplaces when they want to allow the advertiser to advertise for their own store and to be able to track all the metrics like how many of these people actually see your ad and added to cart and then eventually purchase and blah, blah, blah. So what they do is they actually create a catalog with all the products that you have in your Shopee store, Tokopedia or whatever. So they will give you this, they will share this catalog to your Facebook ads account so that you can start running ads and all the attribution, the numbers actually will come back in your ads manager so that you kind of know. Of course, we know that it's not 100% accurate, but at least you know that, like whether your campaign is performing or not, and you are able to do retargeting with this CPAS solution. So this case is 2 years ago. So about 1.5 to 2 years ago, this client who is in the pets vitamin industry in Indonesia, so they came to me and say that the CPAS sales campaign, they have been running the CPAS ads for about 2 months, and they optimize it for conversion, which is normal because when you're using CPAS, in fact, when it comes to these ad setup, there are certain limitations. So what they did was they were actually using the catalog, meaning the whole ad is kind of like tied to a catalog or a product set that you're trying to promote. And essentially, you have very limited options in terms of what kind of creative that you can do. You won't be able to just freely use a video and, to bring people to that. And it has to be tied to an instant experience and stuff like that. So it's slightly more complex. But Shopee CPAS, I mean, Shopee is one of the largest e-commerce marketplace in Malaysia and Southeast Asia region. It's really very powerful. I actually have a lot of clients that are really doing well with Shopee's as well. So the problem that they were having here is the CPAS that the sales campaign that they're optimizing for conversion isn't performing at all. So what we did was we dive into the numbers itself, and then we realized that there is a very high CTR link click, which means when it comes to Facebook ads metrics, right? These are a few key metrics that you have to track. One of them is really the CTR, and we have two sets of CTR, CTR all and CTR link click. Now, when it comes to CTR link click, that really indicates the percentage of people who are really keen on clicking on your call to action. So I think the CTR was quite high, but the problem here is I think it's definitely above average. I think it's about 1 point something. I can't really recall. But the problem here is, they have very low number of conversion from link click to outbound click. Now, there's another thing that I really want you to pay attention when it comes to analyzing the data here is especially you are actually driving people out from Facebook and into your website and stuff like that. You really want to track, the conversion between link click to outbound, because outbound is really essentially the number of people who leave Facebook and Instagram environment after clicking the ad, but not everybody would actually leave. So for this kind of situation, especially for CPAS, if you're using instant experience, it is normal to have a gap. Let's say for this case, I think we were having about like 972 link clicks, meaning people click on the call to action, but there were only 282 went outbound, meaning they left Facebook environment. So we kind of lose 70% from link click to outbound here. So this is one of the main problems simply because we were using instant experience. So for this kind of situation, as long as the number that follows are reasonably good, we don't really touch this because we want to use instant experience because we want to actually showcase the product before letting, kind of showcase all the product that we want to highlight to the audience and let them kind of make decision whether they want to move on or not. So it's normal to have a drop off, but we don't want to have significant drop off as in fact, 30% conversion from link click to outbound is considered low. We're hoping to get at least 50%. But having said that, if it's low, but the whole thing is working, then you probably just have to monitor the whole number coming in. So that was the biggest problem, as in not just the link click to outbound was dropping, but the other thing that is also dropping very significantly, like here from outbound to content view, is really significantly dropped as well. So outbound to content view, meaning content view is really the number of people who have, let's say if you bring a person in, how many times they have seen your product in your Shopee store or your Tokopedia store or your Lazada store. So we want to have better number from outbound. Let's say usually our benchmark is, say if we have 282 outbound, we want to have at least 1.5 times of content view, because unless you're selling something, unless your Shopee store is having very little SKU, but naturally people would actually start browsing more products on your store, because if they are interested in buying one item, they probably will look at other items because they're interested kind of like to get the bulk deal or the free shipping deal and stuff like that. So usually that's the number. But the problem here is all the numbers that follow from outbound onwards are really bad. So basically over here, as we can see that another thing that we actually kind of spotted over here, I wanted to highlight at the finding part here is the traffic that we captured on the Shopee store was not significantly improved after running the ads for 2 months. Meaning they were getting probably like about 50 overviews per day, for example, But once they started running ads, they were getting like about like 60, 70. So it's actually not significant at all. So with all the money that they're actually putting in the ads and all, they were not getting improvement in terms of traffic. So that's totally something is not right already. So even with all these numbers are coming in and all that, we were trying to identify. So the angle that we were actually going on here is we wanted to identify the reason why the outbound did not reach the Shopee store. As in, like, we already know the link click to outbound conversion is already low, but at least we want to see why is the outbound not converting into content view. So eventually, we were actually trying to tackle from various angles. In fact, in order to solve this problem, you have a few angles to look into. You can actually change the ad format to carousel to see whether it does improve. Although we know that when you change to carousel, usually the CTR is it's definitely gonna drop significantly. Let's say if you are now having a 1.5 CTR link click, you probably will get even half of it or even less, because essentially carousel is actually harder to convert in most of the region that we are working on right now. But I'm not saying that it's not useful. Although the CTR is low, but you may bring higher quality audience coming into your whole store. So there are a lot of angles to look into. So basically, these are the possible experiments. So when we are actually trying all these different angles by building different hypotheses in the campaign itself, trying to solve the problem, we usually test one variable at a time. So that's the reason why we worked with the client in the mid-term to long-term basis. Because eventually when we have a problem, in order to solve the problem, we probably will go through several rounds of tests. The reason why we do that is not because we want to drag the time, no. But the problem here is if you are testing multiple so-called variables at one time, you do not know what's contributing to the success or failure of this experiment. You get what I mean? So it's really important for us to really understand what are we doing. So testing one variable at a time with a guided framework is really important. So after we tested several times and we realized that, oh, okay, I think it was the second test, we kind of like spotted that. I mean, in fact, there are, as you know, that when it comes to CPAS ads, there are certain things that are quite complex, and you kind of overlook on certain things. So for this to solve this problem, what we did that actually solved the problem was we actually forced the ad destination to the Shopee app instead of leaving it blank and open. So when you actually do not select a destination for the Shopee ad, okay, especially the CPAS ad, essentially Shopee allows the audience to open in various formats, meaning when you click on the ad itself, right, it may open up to in your app, but it may also open in the browser level as well. And when you do that, right, when you make it open, most of the time the ad would actually show more on the desktop version, which is not beneficial to Shopee and Lazada like this, simply because people are not that likely to add to cart or make any purchase when they are in the web environment. They want to do this in the app environment, which they feel secure and comfortable because they already have the app and everything is kind of like all the credentials and everything is already in there. Even the credit card information is in there. So by forcing the audience to go to the app level, actually captures a lot better number in terms of outbound to content view. That's how we actually started to see significant improvement in terms of their Shopee store and even to report some conversions coming in. So of course, moving forward, from this case onwards, we actually were testing multiple things until we stabilize the whole campaign, until we are able to see profitability out of it. So, but I wanted to share this as a very unique case where this is actually a very subtle thing that you may actually missed it, but it actually changed the whole thing. So we need to know what to monitor. And we don't want to get carried away by one single metric just because it's not really doing that well. Let's say, I get these questions a lot, right? Jason, my CPM is really increasing and increasing and increasing. What am I supposed to do with that? But the moment I ask the question, how's your conversion coming in? It's okay. I'm still getting positive ROAS, but the CPM is hurting me and it's worrying. But the moment we go in, it's actually normal fluctuation in terms of CPM. So this is the problem with a lot of advertisers. They actually focus too much on single metrics instead of learning how to connect the metrics that matters to really make sound decision for their Facebook ads campaign. So this is a really interesting case. So if you are running CPAS ads and you are seeing problems like you're not seeing significant improvement in terms of your store traffic, but you are probably that's one of them, which is what happened to our client over here, or you're not getting consistent conversion or so-called consistent ROAS going into your Facebook ads campaign for your Facebook's for your Shopee store or your Lazada store. We have a lot of things that we can actually dive into, and they are multiple angles that we can draw our hypothesis into and fix it. But having said that, right, I was just actually illustrating the whole case study in a way that we kind of cut in from various angles that really matters. But there are other things like your creative, the whole promotion itself, the offer itself, because offer is also one of the things. Like recently, after 3 months of testing different offer, my client finally achieved very, very good ROAS for their Shopee store, but they were doing different thing. It's actually similar, but term it differently, position it differently, but now finally it's working. It's also one of the things that really matter as well. So when we are reviewing the campaign, we dive in from various angles. We try to find as many hypotheses as possible, and we build a plan to actually optimize your campaign to the next level. So that's what we do. So if you're running Facebook, for your Shopee or Lazada or Amazon CPAS or even Tokopedia CPAS and whatever, and you want to see if there is any way that we can actually get this campaign to stabilize or get better result out of it or to improve everything, I would like to invite you to scan this QR code. This would take you directly to my calendar. So basically all you need to do is just buy me a dinner and we can actually have a 30-minute Zoom call. It's definitely enough. Otherwise, I will let you know if we need to add some extra time. But in my opinion, based on unless you have a very complex campaign that you have probably like 30 ads running simultaneously. But if you have only like about 3 to 5 campaigns, and then all this is actually based on different very simple variations of the ad settings and all that, we can definitely cover. And from there, we are able to draw a plan. So 3 things we will do mainly in the ad review. First thing, we will build a dashboard that matters to your business. So we will line out all the metrics that matters to you and then build a dashboard out of it, which is in your ads manager right away. And I will analyze for you and I will teach you how to analyze. So basically the whole thing is going to equip you with all the necessary knowledge and skill to really know what's happening in your campaign. And as we are analyzing, we will build hypotheses like I shared with you just now. So based on all these hypotheses, I'll build a plan about things that you should do in the coming weeks or even months, one step at a time, which one should go first, which one should go after, to build you a plan to help you take your campaign to the next level, to stabilize or fix any problem that you have in your Facebook ads for Shopee, CPAS, or Lazada CPAS, Tokopedia CPAS, or whatever. So if that's what you want, scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you.